From translation, Net New English Translation. This 295th day of the year. Today we are reading passages Mark 15 to 16. Mark chapter 15, verses 1 to 19. Then Pilate asked him, "Are you the king of the Jews?" "You say so," Jesus replied. "But I was born for this, and I came into the world for this, that I might testify to the truth. Everyone who is a follower of the truth hears my voice." Pilate then went outside to the Jews and said, "I find no basis for a charge against this man." But the Jews insisted, "We have a law, and according to that law he ought to die because he claimed to be the king of the Jews." When Pilate heard this, he was even more anxious to release him, but the Jews kept on insisting against him. So Pilate went outside again and called for the chief priests and the crowds, and said, "Do you want me to release to you the king of the Jews?" For he perceived that the chief priests had handed him over because of envy. But the chief priests stirred up the crowd to have Pilate to release Barabbas for them instead. Now Pilate was accustomed to release an imprisoned rebel for the crowd during the Passover feast. The man's name was Barabbas. So when Pilate spoke to the crowd, they shouted back, "Not this one, but Barabbas." Now Barabbas was an imprisoned rebel along with those who had carried out a rebellion in the city and had committed murder. But Pilate, wanting to release Jesus to them, again called out to them, "What then do you want me to do to the king of the Jews?" But they shouted back, "Crucify him." "For what evil has he done?" Pilate asked. But they shouted back all the more, "Crucify him." So Pilate, wanting to satisfy the crowd, released Barabbas for them, and after having Jesus flogged, he handed him over to be crucified. Then the soldiers led Jesus into the courtyard of the palace. Now the whole battalion of soldiers was gathered together with him. They called him to gather together and said, "Hail, King of the Jews!" And they began to strike him on the head with a reed. They also spat on him and fell on their knees before him and mocked him. But when Pilate questioned them again, they replied, "Crucify him." "Why?" Pilate asked, "What evil has he done?" But they shouted back all the more, "Crucify him." After he had released Barabbas to them, and after having the manner in which an accused criminal was punished, he handed him over to be crucified. Then they led him away and took him into the courtyard of the palace. They called together the whole battalion of soldiers. They clothed him in purple and twisted a crown of thorns and put it on him. They called out to one another, "Hail, King of the Jews!" And they knelt down and mocked him and said, "Hail, King of the Jews!" And they gave him a cup of wine mixed with myrrh, but he did not take it. They took him and they made him drink it. They gave him a cup of wine mixed with myrrh to drink, but he did not take it.